What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another exciting episode of Popping Through Culture. I'm Chris.
And I'm Rico.
And we are
Popping Through Culture.
In this episode, we're talking about
Eddie Brock.
Eddie Brock as the new Carnage.
Carnage, issue 1.
Yep.
We're cranking the gears out on that one. We don't know who's the lead of the show right now. But hey,
we're rolling.
We're weird. That's why we're weird.
Weird?
Or normal.
Roll the credits.
Popping with the culture.
And we're back.
Hey, guys. All right, so Carnage #1. You know, I remember getting Carnage, the first appearance of Carnage, which I actually have graded in my office there. I think it's a 9.6 or 9 something. It's a high 9, right?
Yeah.
And so I had like the first. It was like a set of 3s, like 1, 2, and 3 of Carnage, and then it had Maximum Carnage. You ever play the game Maximum Carnage?
Yes.
You get the red cartridge.
Is that with Genesis?
Super Nintendo. I think it came out Genesis.
I had it on Genesis.
Yeah, Genesis. But like Super Nintendo, they actually had a limited edition red cartridge.
I do remember that.
It was cool. I never beat the game.
No.
Never.
Because there's no save.
Oh yeah, you have to keep playing, and then at the end, it's like if you die, that's it. You got to start over.
Start over 4 lives.
Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, playing old school games is hardcore.
Dude.
That's like when my kid plays Cuphead. You ever play Cuphead?
No.
Cuphead's hard.
Is it?
It's so hard. Play Cuphead. Yeah, you have Switch. Your kids have a Switch.
My kids have it. But they didn't let me play. They're like, no, it's my game. So I just play my Xbox.
No. Grab your kid's Switch, but like stiff arm them, but like, no, you're not doing good in school or whatever, yada, yada, yada. It's mine now. And go download Cuphead. I think it's a free game, or it's like cheaper, super cheap. Anyway,
pretty sure.
But yeah, Cuphead is hard.
Speaking of video games, if you do happen to have an Xbox, and you guys know a lot of Marvel games don't come on the Xbox, especially Spider-Man games, because they're owned by Sony, so they go straight to PlayStation.
Yep.
Very soon, very, very soon, all the old Spider-Man titles are going to be released on Xbox.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
I can get Spider-Man 2?
I'm looking forward to that, yes.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's a digital download, but I know they're going to be able to be played on a console, so I guess they would be digital download.
Or maybe I can get it on Steam. They'll have Steam. I could probably download it on my computer.
They're going to make it cross-compatible.
It might be. It'll probably look good on my computer.
Right?
Yeah.
And then there's a new game coming out for Xbox called Marvel 1938, I want to say.
Okay.
And it's based off of...
Isn't that an Amazon show with...
1838? Yeah, which is a great show. But this one is Marvel World War, or it's a soldier Marvel, which is basically Captain America in like 1938. And you obviously have to go up against the Nazis, but you're like, all right, how boring is Captain America?
Which is weird because
solo game gonna
World
be?
War II ended before 38.
I don't know, maybe. But King T'Challa's Black Panther, the first Black Panther, so the grandfather is gonna be the Black Panther in this one.
Well, the first Black Panther goes way back.
Well, it goes back to like
Stone Age.
World War II.
Actually, goes back to Stone Age. There's a series where because it's the Panther goddess. Yeah, it goes back to the Stone Age where the first Black Panther.
Which you can find in Thor. Which Thor movie is that? Love and Thunder.
Yes.
You see her. Quick cameo, which I think is a lot of cameos. They were like unnoticed.
Yes. So,
in
that big pantheon with Zeus. Yeah. So she's there. But yeah, so the Black Panther actually goes further back than just the grandfather. It goes way, way back.
They should have had the what's his name?
Who?
The symbiote king in black.
Yeah. No.
No, he should have been there. Why not?
Because he was trapped on the planet. He was trapped in symbiotes.
Yeah,
symbiotes?
true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's why he had to regain his power to get off the planet.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why he's stuck on there.
It would have been cool to see him though.
It could, but then it'd be like, how do you get off?
Yeah, they'll have to explain that.
They explain that.
And then comic book sales will go up.
And people are like, wait a minute.
But yo, let's get back to Eddie Brock Carnage, which is like, what?
Yeah. So how?
What? Well, how did that happen?
Yeah. How do we
Venom War? That's how it happened.
Oh, Venom War.
Venom War.
That you didn't want to read.
Well, how do I know it then? I skimmed through it.
Yeah.
I skimmed through it. It wasn't a big popular comic to me, but I skimmed through it, you know? And basically how this happened was, we all know Dylan got the Venom symbiote. But the original Venom dies. Eddie Brock gets severely hurt. And also Carnage gets severely hurt. And the only way that they can survive is if they merge together. And that's how Venom War ended. With them two merging together to basically they needed each other to stay alive.
So what happened to Venom?
He dies, just like in the movie.
Oh, Venom. Oh, he dies.
He dies. He's
oh.
done. Oh no, sorry. He didn't die.
No, yeah.
He went to Luke Cage.
Yeah. So what?
Sorry if you didn't read the new Venom, but
so how
new Venom.
Yeah. So how come Luke Cage has him?
I don't remember because I know Luke Cage wasn't at the end of Venom War, so I don't know how that happened. He just you got to read Luke Cage to figure that out. But what are you doing?
My Spider-Man shirt with my Venom Carnage.
Yeah.
Spider Boy.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man. Hey guys, Spider-Man comics. Remember that? That was a throwback to like season 1.
Of what?
Of the show.
What show?
When we were filming at the store.
Who said that?
It was like one of the first few episodes. And we were like, people like trying to knock on the door. And like, oh,
you got
any Spider-Man comics?
Yes, I do. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. That's what, there. 2 years ago?
Almost, something like that.
Man, we're getting old, right? I got a couple more grades. I'm like, at least another lifetime to looking like this guy, but hey, keep in mind, like,
you're fabulous.
I'm fabuloso.
Fabuloso. Anyway, so Carnage
is good, by the way.
I know, thank you. I had to fix it. Not like anyone was looking at it anyway.
But yeah, it starts out with Eddie Brock and Carnage on an airplane. And he's still trying to be his lethal protector self as Eddie Brock, but we all know Carnage. He ain't that kind of alien or symbiote. All he wants to do is kill, right?
Go.
Yeah. And he's basically, inside of Eddie Brock's head, and was like, we got to kill everybody on this plane. They're starting to ignore me. And Eddie Brock's like, no, we're not going to be that way. We're not doing that. We need to get to this one destination, which they didn't really speak of where they were going. But they needed to hunt down this villain or this serial killer named Hopscotch. Hopscotch is a pretty cool name for a serial killer. Well, when you hack up your victims and then you spread them across the United States,
hopscotching,
it's kind of creepy.
I guess
right?
so.
And then we all know, Carnage and Venom, they have these awesome abilities. And one of their abilities, Carnage's ability, he can mind read. And he's able to use that power to figure out who the killer is.
But not like a normal mind reader. It's not like Professor X.
No.
This is like creepy, slimy.
He needs to probe you. He needs to probe you
in your brain.
And goes, out the nostrils, out the eyeballs, ears, mouth, into another person.
Yeah, so there's a big spread.
It's like a telephone pole.
Right? There's the big spread of them going through. He goes right from one, and it's like, oh, what the heck? And there's like a little squish sound. And the next panel you see is him going through all the people on the plane, like 100 people on the plane, whatever it is. Everyone on the plane. And
commercial airliner, by the way.
757. It was going down anyway. It's Boeing. So he goes and he's trying to find the killer. And to realize they're not on the plane. Well, but they are on the plane.
They are. He is on the plane.
Yes. So he is on the plane because the killer is one of the pilots.
Yeah, which is creepy. Also, a very good alibi on why you're going to be in that state and why you have to leave that state.
Yes,
because where were you at 9 o'clock yesterday? I was in the airport. I was in the Mile High Club.
Right.
Between this cloud and that cloud.
Which is weird.
Yeah.
Which is weird because it's more than a mile because I skydive and I used to skydive and we jump at like 12,000 feet. A mile is it's 5,500 feet. So, right. So that's more than a mile. So that's 2 miles up, two and change. And they fly at 35,000 feet. So that's several mile hike up. Just saying, just splitting hairs. In case you were wondering.
Oh my god!
It's more like the 7 Mile High Club.
Yeah. 7 miles. Well, one thing I do like about this comic book, without giving too much of a spoiler because it did just come out, is the artwork. The artwork is really, really detailed. Like, one thing I like but dislike about the artwork, should I say, is it's so detailed. I feel like by issue 6, they're going to have to bring in a new artist.
Why?
Well, because the type of artwork that's in this comic book is so detailed that it's going to take a long time to basically to draw this comic book. So every time an artist gets a comic, they have a limited amount of time to get at least issue 1 through 3 done.
It's good. They all get drawn in China. It's okay.
No.
They get drawn in China.
This artist is Jesus. What's his last name?
Ooh, Sayas?
Sayas. Jesus Sayas. If you guys like Libra Mejo, then you guys are gonna like this version.
I think it's Jesus, by the way.
Or Jesus. Yeah, Jesus. His artwork is hyper detailed. Some may call it or say it's AI or computer generated, but no, this guy is an actual artist, pen to paper style, and it's just seamless. It's very smooth art, and it's also, like I keep saying, it's hyper detailed. If you're a fan of Libra Mejo, you're gonna like Jesus Sanchez. Or
but you mentioned you bring up that pen to paper. Are comic book artists still doing on paper? I think now they're doing all digitally, and then because you can do the fine lines, you can do all that.
It depends. I would say it depends on the artist. Some artists, they do use the tablet, and then it's easier to email it in and give it to the inker, to the colorist, yada yada yada. But a lot of it always starts on a pad, and then they may scan that in, and now you already have. You can once you scan that in, you can manipulate it, shrink it down, make it small, crop something out as you can basically edit it as you want. So it depends on the artist, and I guess it's a preference. But I feel as though they're going to shoot themselves in the foot by making a hyper detailed comic book, and I believe after the sixth issue, they're going to bring in another artist. And it's not going to be the same. It's going to be a remnant of this detail, but it's going to devalue, not devalue as in price, but devalue as in the look of the comic book. And I think it's going to leave a bad taste in people's mouths.
I think as long as the storyline is there, because a lot of artists come and go.
Yeah.
But usually the writer of the book, as long as there's a coherent story in the book, I think people still want to read it because really at the end of the day, people are reading for the story. The storyline, you get an added bonus because it's a comic book. Yeah. But there's still that book aspect.
Well, no, some people really do read comic books not just based off of the literature, but based off of the being visual pleasing. Like the new Spider-Man, volume, I think this is 6 or 7. They brought in John Romita Jr. to do Amazing Spider-Man, and a lot of people don't like his artwork. He's relevant because of his dad, but also back in the 80s and 90s, JR, he had an iconic look, but it doesn't fit today. Like his faces are very wide, very chiseled nose and sharp edged and blocky. And it got to the point where they brought in another artist, and that still had a remnant of his style, but just a better look. And now the comic book has now started to build themselves because it became more visually pleasing. Nevertheless, the story was still kind of wonky and all over the place, but visually it was a pleasant comic to look at. Besides, everyone looked Roman, like I would say if I can relate, not Roman, but if I can relate his artwork to another something that people know is the cartoon Hercules. Where everyone had squared off face and very blocked off.
Like Johnny Bravo?
Yeah. Similar to that.
Squarish.
But it was just, everything was just very everything was square. Even the hands, everything was
Johnny
just
Bravo
squares.
Square.
But he's still an iconic artist, and he back in his time, he did make Spider-Man great. It's just, a lot of those artists are now competing with people like this, or like Libra Mejos, or Capullos, which is still an older artist, but he's been able to keep up with the times, or DNA. Yeah. People are like, that's hard to compete with when you have that kind of caliber of artist on your stands with a JR, or even a Frank Miller.
Which has really decreased in his...
I don't think he's decreased. It's just...
his style. He's much older, so it's harder for him to...
I look at it like when you have when you have a DNA cover next to a Frank Miller cover, you can clearly see the difference. But in 1980s and early 90s, they didn't have that caliber of art in comic books.
Mm-hmm.
So he was one of the higher calibers, or he ran into the mix.
Well, because I seen a cover recently that he did that Wolverine Deadpool cover.
Yeah.
He's like, right?
Yeah.
And he's like really like stretched out, like jawline and everything.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
Or blacked out everything.
Yeah, but then you have, like you said, a DNA cover, which is very crisp and like good, like clean lines, you know, clean coloring and everything. I mean, it's a lot more appealing.
Yeah.
But you know, you're really only buying the Frank Miller book or Frank Miller cover because it's Frank Miller.
Yeah, but
you know, it has value behind it. Like I went to MegaCon recently, and there was a Frank Miller panel, and you know, people are going to hear him, and then you know, hear about like his stories, his war stories, whatever. But no one's going to get, you know, for a panel for DNA. You can go buy a DNA signature for $5. A Frank Miller signature is like $100.
Yeah, he doesn't even talk to you, man.
I have a picture of him. He's walking by. He was like in the background. He was like walking to like the panel, or whatever. And he's like, you know, he's old. He's going downhill.
Yeah, like I don't like. Did he have a stroke? Like, I'm not trying to poke fun or like disrespect him, but did he have a stroke? Is he having health problems? You know, the comic book community always asks these questions, and you know, do we deserve an answer, or maybe it's none of our business? It's a personal problem. But if you're going to be out there in the public, you got to expect those answers or those questions to have some kind of answer, and not a lot of people just have assumptions. You know.
Yeah.
Well, that's, you know, wish him the best. You know, I like his version of Batman. I'm not gonna lie about that. And I honestly am looking forward to him doing some new stuff instead of cover art. I really am. Because he's a good storyteller. You know, and his storytelling is actually valued more than his artwork is. His artwork is iconic, but his stories, man, they're just awesome.
Speaking of stories, how do we finish up with Carnage?
Carnage, he basically rips Hopscotch in half. I mean, put his fingers, tentacles, Carnage tendrils in him and just tear him to pieces.
Yeah.
And then he goes to save everybody on the plane in this big Carnage net, and then Eddie Brock
and flies out
wings like Venom, flies off as the 757,
sure,
whatever it
757
is, blows up, and then you go, oh.
It probably crashed because DEI pilots.
It crashed because there was no pilots.
Oh, that's right. There was no pilot. So he probably took off.
Yeah.
Did he take off?
Who?
The DEI pilot.
Oh, he got shot.
Oh, he got shot.
Yeah.
Oh, see.
Yeah, Hopscotch killed him.
It's probably
100% done.
Broadway. Right.
Everyone dies.
So,
Did everyone die?
Well, no, he saves it. But no, wait.
Yeah.
He
does
not save them.
No.
Because why? Know why? Because it's Carnage.
We are Carnage, and he just lets them all fall to their death.
Well, the funny part is you don't actually see it because Eddie wakes up the next day. He's like, "Wait, how did we get here?" And oh my God, what happened to the people?
Yeah.
And he's like, "What'd you think, Eddie?"
He just lets them go. It was raining men. Hallelujah. It was raining men. And women and children
and
babies
and doggies
and whatever else had a heartbeat on that plane.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. Cloudy with a chance of humans hitting the ground. Oh my goodness.
Right in the Potomac River.
No, they were on the mountains.
Oh, mountains. Even better.
Oh, it was like this.
Nothing like
not like Lost.
Nothing like a red snow cone.
You're gonna find those guys. They were all squishy.
Nothing like a red snow cone.
Ew. Yeah.
Yum.
Oh my goodness. But then it ends with like this inner monologue, like Chris was saying, of Carnage and Eddie talking to each other about, you are a killer. No, we are not a killer. We only kill the guilty. We don't harm the innocent. And Carnage is like, no.
That's nice.
Cool. Good for you, but that's not what we're doing.
Yeah, it's like a whole like inner monologue, kind of like if you guys ever watch Bleach. There's an inner monologue with him and Zanpakuto, which is the sword. This is the entity of the sword the spirit of the sword. So he's having this. He goes and has this inner monologue to try to like get his power and like figure out his power and everything. And so this is basically what that is. It's like him talking. He's talking to himself, the Carnage symbiote.
Yeah.
And he's like all like dapper. He's wearing like a fedora. And he has a cane.
Yeah,
and
right.
A suit and everything. Not like something I would imagine Carnage looking like.
Never.
Like I thought he'd be like all like this.
You would assume like he would enjoy being that gruesome beast, you know?
Right. He's never. But yeah, he's straight up with like it's the Carnage face with the teeth, but he's wearing a fedora,
like a gangster.
rocking a cane, like a gangster rocking a cane,
3-piece suit on.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, where's the biddies at? Where's the hose?
Well, overall, what would you give this comic book? Like just this issue alone.
4.5. 4.5.
4.5?
Yeah.
I was thinking 5. I think it's a well-rounded comic book. Storyline starts us off well. The artwork is good. It was easy to follow, and I was entertained by it.
Yeah, it was very self-contained. There was a lot of stuff that went on. It's not a very thick book, but it is so surprising how fast it went through. And then while we were talking before the show, it was like just flipping through really quick. I was like, I felt like there was more. I think because there's so much dialogue while you're going through it. There's a lot of like when you're reading a lot on per page, it seems a lot longer than when if you have a lot of like splash pages and a lot of action scenes where you just keep flipping through and it's like, oh, I went through a big book but didn't really consume a lot. So, but yeah, so there's a lot of information here. It's a great book. I'm not really sure why I dinged it a half a point, but I did.
Maybe because it was short.
Maybe maybe because I feel like it needed a little more. It could have had a little more. It could have been like how he got to the plane, or like last time on Eddie Brock.
Yeah, they didn't. Well, they briefly summed it up in the very first first page, the introduction. But I would at least it just starts you out with Eddie Brock on the plane. Yeah, it should have been like how X-Men comics do it. Like they'll do a page, like a first page, or like a breakdown of the characters, the players of the book. Well, we got that at the end of the book. Yeah, so like the beginning of the book would have been good when you're picking up the book. It's not like I'm reading it backwards. So like, if you're reading, like I'm back in the old days, I would read a magazine, pick up a magazine. For some reason, I read the back and the front. So, I don't know. Weird. Yeah, so it would be like the first page or two, like one of the black and white pages, like a splash last time on, Eddie Brock, they use, him crawling out, trying to land, and then the Carnage, he absorbs it. So now you're caught up because it's the first book. It's a first book you're picking up. So it's kind of like a new storyline, but not. It's a continuation of a storyline. So like a person who's just picking it up, I guess... If you don't know who Eddie Brock is, you don't know who Carnage is, then yes, it's still kind of a stretch. Yeah, this comic book definitely started out for the people who are vets with Eddie Brock, Venom, and Carnage. Yeah. They expect this comic book expects you to have a following. Like I said in the beginning, it picks up where Venom War basically ended, or I would say sometimes like a good brief time hop between Venom War and Eddie Brock Carnage. And I feel as though this is going to bring together the brand all new Venom with Luke Cage, and it might even have a tie-in with Doom Academy or Doom One World Under Doom. We won't know until that happens. Right. I feel as though this comic book, like I said, is a 5, but I feel like the first issue is going to be a 5, and then over time, it's just gonna fizzle out. Well, that's just my belief. Have to hold your attention. Yeah, like I've never really been a diehard Venom Carnage or not a fan, but follower of the comic books. They kind of fizzle out after a few. So I'm hoping this one it's a fresh take. It's something that's never been done before, and I hope it upholds the storytelling and its art, and it keeps it going. And outside of that, hey. Brand new comic book. Yep. Yeah. Well, guys, I hope you guys have enjoyed this review of Carnage, Eddie Brock's Carnage. Guys, if you have any thoughts, any concerns about this book or our show, please make sure you guys leave a comment down below. We'd like to hear your thoughts and complaints or approvals or whatever you want to tell us. You guys picked up some eggs today for like $20. You guys have... you guys have any questions or even want us to review a certain title,
yes,
let us know. We read comics. Some read us for a living. Some does it for,
for the show,
or for the fandom. But hey, man, what do you want to hear us talk about next? Let us know in the comments. All right.
Yeah. If you guys like the background, you guys want us to talk about in the rain, you guys want to hear us jump off a roof, leave us in the comments.
You want him to jump off a roof? Yeah, definitely. You want to see him in the Spider-Man onesie?
Parkour.
Oh my goodness! And also, we are at 73 subscribers.
75, yeah.
75. Once we get to 100, not only am I going to give up a free comic book, but you might get a free mystery slab if that's what you guys are into. Well, if you're into it or not, I'm giving it away. So the 100th follower, or
no, after 100, we'll do a
raffle
for who are all of our followers.
I'm digging it. So yeah, you guys want a free comic book, a free valued comic book, a 9.8 perhaps? Let's get to 100, guys. We're at 75, 73 right now. Let's boost it up. Yeah. Don't forget to like, share, and follow. And definitely, more importantly, comment.
Yes, it definitely helps out the channel.
Yes, it does.
That being said, I'm Chris.
And I'm Rico.
And we are
Popping Through Culture.
And we'll see you guys
next time.
Later, guys.
Peace.